Welcome back to AI Verdict. In the world of AI, things move fast. But what we're seeing right now, it isn't just another update. It feels more like a tidal wave. We're seeing these huge, fundamental shifts happening all at once across four key fronts: scientific research, the hardware that makes it all run, global competition, and even something as basic as how we search for information.
So today, we're going to dive into how four major players, we're talking OpenAI, Microsoft, the UAE, and even Yahoo, are completely reshaping the AI landscape. Their latest moves are giving us a really clear signal about where this whole industry is going, not just for the next few months, but for the next few years.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start with OpenAI and its big push into science. Then we'll look at Microsoft's attack on the hardware problem. After that, we'll unpack what the UAE is doing with its bet on transparency, and we'll finish up with Yahoo's surprise return to the search game.
First up, OpenAI. They're jumping headfirst into the world of scientific research with a brand new and free tool called Prism. And look, this isn't just another neat feature. This is a full-on attempt to change the very process of how science actually gets done.
To get why this is such a big deal, you have to picture how a scientist works today. It's kind of messy. They're constantly hopping between different apps, right? You've got your text editor, you've got LaTeX for formatting, PDF viewers, citation managers, chat tools. It's a nightmare of context switching. And every single time they switch, they lose a little bit of that precious focus and momentum.
So Prism's solution is what they're calling an AI-native workspace. The whole idea is to get rid of all that friction. They've built this one single cloud-based spot where all of it, the writing, the equations, the citations, even collaborating with your team, all happens in one place. And the key is that AI is woven into every single step of the process.
And let me be clear, this is not just some chatbot stuck in a sidebar. No way. This is a deeply integrated tool, and it's powered by GPT 5.2, which OpenAI says is their absolute best model for scientific reasoning. Because the AI can see the entire paper, the full context, it can do some pretty amazing things, like help you revise your arguments, check your claims. It could even take a rough sketch you drew on a whiteboard and turn it into a perfectly formatted graphic. Just wow.
And they're not just building this on a whim. The demand is already there, and it is massive. OpenAI says it's seeing about 8.4 million messages a week on hard science topics in ChatGPT. That is a gigantic signal that researchers are already trying to bend these general tools for their super specialized work.
So here's the bottom line, and OpenAI's leadership basically spells it out for us. They see a huge strategic shift happening. Just like AI completely changed the game for software developers last year, they're betting that the next great frontier is the science lab.
All right, so that brings us to our next story. Because while OpenAI is busy revolutionizing the software, Microsoft is tackling the other side of the coin, the fundamental hardware problem that powers everything.
Now, to really get what Microsoft is doing with its new chip, you have to understand the difference between AI training and inference. Think of it like this. Training is like building a giant factory. It's a huge, incredibly expensive upfront cost. But inference, that's the cost of running the factory 24/7. It's what you pay every single time you ask a question. And those costs add up like you wouldn't believe.
And that's exactly where Microsoft's new Maya 200 chip comes into play. It is built for one thing: inference. And the numbers they're claiming are staggering. They're saying it delivers 3 times the performance of Amazon's competing chip. 3 times!
But at the end of the day, this whole thing is about economics. It's about money. The stated goal here is to get about 30% better performance for every dollar you spend. If they can make it cheaper to run their own services, like Copilot or Azure OpenAI, they can boost their profits and maybe even pass those savings on.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting. You have to look at the market context. Right now, NVIDIA has an absolute iron grip on this whole space. Some estimates put their market share for these kinds of chips at around 92%. It's basically their world. Everyone else is just living in it. So, that's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? Can this new wave of in-house chips from companies like Microsoft actually challenge that dominance? It is a monumental task. And it's not just about building better hardware. It's about breaking developers' addiction to NVIDIA's powerful software ecosystem, CUDA, which has been the industry standard for over a decade.
Okay, so we've covered corporations. Now let's shift our focus to countries. The United Arab Emirates is making a really big move in the global AI race, but they're doing it with a fascinating strategy that's all about transparency.
Their new model is called K2 Think, And what makes it so different is that as many Western models are getting more closed and secretive, the UAE is going in the complete opposite direction. They've released K2 Think with full disclosures. The data, the algorithms, the code, everything's out in the open. It's so transparent, it's literally ranked at the very top of the openness index.
And this is the key to their whole goal. This isn't just some academic project, it's a core piece of a national strategy to build what they call sovereign AI. By building their own credible, powerful, and totally homemade model, the UAE is trying to cut its dependence on foreign tech and establish itself as a real power player on the world stage. And for our final story, get ready for this. An iconic name from the early internet is jumping back into one of the most competitive fights out there. That's right, Yahoo is back in the search game, and they've brought a new AI-powered engine called Scout.
So, how does this thing work? Well, Scout is actually a hybrid engine, which is pretty clever. It uses Anthropic's powerful Claude model as the brains to generate answers, but then it uses Microsoft's Bing to ground those answers in real-time data from the web. So you get smart answers that are also up to date. But here's Yahoo's secret weapon, the thing that a startup could only dream of: data. They're sitting on a massive ecosystem with about 500 million user profiles. This lets them leverage that data to personalize and add context to the answers Scout gives you. That's a huge head start. And they're being really smart about this. Instead of trying to be a general-purpose search engine for everything, Scout is leaning into Yahoo's traditional strengths. So for things like finance, it can pull in real-time analyst ratings. For shopping, it can distill tons of expert reviews into a quick, easy-to-read comparison.
The ultimate goal here is to completely change what you expect from search. Just like Google and Perplexity, Yahoo wants to move way beyond that classic list of blue links and just give you a direct, synthesized answer to your question. It's a fundamental shift in how we find information online.
So, when you connect all these dots, a really clear picture starts to emerge. The AI industry isn't just taking one big leap. It's maturing and pushing forward on 4 separate, vital fronts all at once. You have deep integration into professional workflows with Prism. You have that relentless drive for hardware efficiency with the Maya 200. You have a new push for transparency and national strategy with K2 Think. And finally, you have the complete reinvention of a core internet function, search, with Scout.
This massive wave of innovation really shows us that 2026 is shaping up to be the year of deep integration and specialized growth. It's not just about building bigger and bigger models anymore. It's about making them smarter, cheaper, more open, and a lot more useful in our day-to-day lives, which really just leaves us all wondering what industry is next.